Welcome to the Elevating Voices in Leadership podcast, brought to you in partnership with Pepperdine University's Graduate School of Education. I'm Dr. Gabriela Miramontes, and I will be your host today. With me today are my co-hosts, Dr. Maria Brame, Dr. Asia Ghazi, Dr. Sonia Sharififar, Ana Guzman, Charlotta Green, and Myron Fletcher. Our topic today deals with some of the doctoral program students attending the Hawaii International Conference on Education in Hawaii this past January. And with us today is Amber, and Amber will introduce herself, give you a little bit of background of her background, but give you a little bit of intro or information regarding her topic as well. So Amber, welcome. I know that we're waiting for Abdullah as well. And when he gets here, we'll have him introduce himself. But let's start with you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, what program you're in, and what your topic was about?
Thank you, Dr. Gabby, for inviting us to join this podcast. My name is Xuanyi Chen. Everyone here call me Amber. I'm pursuing a doctorate in organizational leadership and running an education technology company in Shanghai and a family business in civil engineering industry in northwestern China. So our topic is about the knowledge management in the at civil engineering companies that related to my family business. And Abdullah shared the same interest in the engineering field. So we decided, okay, why not we join together to do some project based on our family background, based on our knowledge in the organization leadership. So that comes with this specific topic in our research.
Oh, that's fascinating. So what was the focus of your research?
Is knowledge management to leverage technology innovation in the company. And we did a comparative international study in Ghana, that's Western Africa, and in Japan, and in China, the company we're talking about.
So why did you pick those three countries?
Through our literature review and theoretical framework, we find the knowledge management is a very critical thing in transmitting one knowledge to another within the organization. So we try to search, is there an existing cases and is there applied research? So we identify this Western Africa, Ghana case that's based on the quantitative study of 13 companies in the civil engineering field, and then they discuss about knowledge management, and they do a quantitative research that have very great results. And then the Japan one, we have the case for Sharp. Sharp is a leading company in the technology field, and then they have built up knowledge ecosystem theory that can be applied to the first case as well. So we pick different horizontally from the same field, civil engineering industry, to do the comparison, and we do pick the vertically, historically, who is really great at knowledge management and knowledge ecosystem. So we pick the Japan case that form our three case to do the comparison.
And what were your findings?
Our findings is first, our first case is for the northwestern China one, and they kind of liking the presentation and the marketing about their technology innovation, and then they focusing on the traditional design project instead of innovation. In their 18 pages of brief promotion material, only a half page introduced about technology, but they put technology very important in their vision and mission. And that's why when we find out about the gap, and then we they go deep into their archival data, and we find out these are all concealed in their local computer files, and they have these things models built, but they are not available to the public. And also the 3D animation, we go through that, and this only can be scanned when you are actually picking out a phone and scan the QR code, and then they will pop up. It's not showing in a very convenient and technological way then the others or their clients or the market know this company have those technology innovation. So that's a very obvious lack of knowledge management system in the company. So from our case too, we know that knowledge management is vital to the civil engineering construction firms in creating, identifying, sharing of knowledge based on the best practice, learning lessons, and experience within the organization. And then we found out from their results, their findings, that knowledge storage management practice is important at the first phase, and then the knowledge management modeling system to represent the main features and to structure knowledge, help them to better communicate or transmit through within the organization. And there are some distinction between like tacit knowledge and explicit knowledge, and it can be codified and through the personalized strategies. And also the tutoring, mentoring system can help the knowledge to be transmitted to communicate better within the organization. That's what we found from the Ghana case in the West African country. And from the Sharp case, the Sharp has a knowledge ecology perspective, and it's kind of have a shape of 4 shapes, 4 like circles, and then the circles is knowledge creation, knowledge evolution, knowledge search, and knowledge invasion. This circle has helped the knowledge like move smoothly within this organization, from the creation, from identification, from coding, from evolution, everything. Yeah. And this part, Abdullah takes a major job in doing their Sharp corporations analysis.
Got it. Well, he just entered the room, so we'll have him introduce himself and then we'll start quizzing him on his part of the presentation.
Okay.
So
thank you,
Abdullah,
Amber. Thank you, Dr.
You're welcome. Why don't you, for our listeners, why don't you introduce yourself and give a little bit of a background? And then tell us a little bit about what your role in the presentation was as far as the HICE conference.
Oh, okay. So first of all, thank you for bringing me here. I appreciate y'all. And thank you, Amber, for everything you said. My name, as you can see on screen, is Abdullah Salahuddin Abdullah Kamali Al-Marzuki. Abdullah is fine. What was the question again? Sorry.
Tell us a little bit about your background, the program you're in.
So I'm in the, my name is Abdullah Kamali. I'm from Dubai. I'm from UAE. And I'm in the Doctor of Education and Organization Leadership program. My background is in business and aviation. I did my master's in Pepperdine in the Grazia Dio School of Business. And I used to, before doing all this, I was a pilot also, or I'm still a pilot, but I used to work for Etihad Airlines. Before this project, Amber approached me since my background, and I also worked in an engineering company. So this project is about a hydropower and civil engineering company. So she asked me if I would pretty much join forces with her so we could make this project happen. And it sounded like a good idea. And after just 5 minutes of talking, I realized that we were on the same page. And we decided to go through with it. And so after we finished the paper, it's about knowledge management. So Amber did, the companies in Northwest China. So Amber did most of the company analysis, and I did most of the work about knowledge management itself and the theories. And that's how we started. And in January, we went to HICE and we presented the conference. Do y'all have any specific questions, or should I just?
You know, I do. Just for clarification, and forgive me if this is completely obvious or should be, but did you collect data, or what did you analyze exactly?
So pretty much we did a comparative case study. So we had 3 cases. We did a macro analysis, a micro analysis, and to see if a knowledge management would work, would be beneficial for the company. So first, we had a case study of 13 civil engineering companies in Ghana and see how they applied knowledge management. And that case, they've already done some quantitative analysis. So we didn't do any like data collection, but we did study them. So
add up to here, like for the company in northwestern China, we did collect the archival data from their website, from their promotion material, and from their brochure. And me and Abdullah has go through it and identify the problem and want to make the recommendation and change plan based on what we find from the knowledge management theory.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you. Cool.
So that was case number 1. Thank you, Amber. And so case number 2 was the 13 companies in Ghana. And we did, and case 3 was the company Sharp, you know, the television company. So that was the micro analysis, which is we focused, like zoomed into one company, and the others was in how it affected like a multitude of companies. And we noticed that their like knowledge management. So first, let me explain what knowledge management is. So basically, all corporations in the world have all departments. They have legal, HR. If it's an educational department, they have the teaching department. They have some accounting, all of these different departments. The problem is sometimes that these departments don't talk. So if somebody would design something or would implement something, like for example, if I was building a car, engineers love the most aerodynamic cars and the fastest car on the road. But if they put the battery in the back and underneath the engine, and maintenance wants to just change a battery, which is a frequent thing to do, they would have a horrible time to do that. They would have to take off everything. So there's no communication. They reached their goal, but they didn't consider other people. So the same thing happens with everyone. Like say, if you had a marketing campaign, so you want to make the flashiest, biggest festival in the world, finance and accounting won't like that. So they don't communicate. So that's the problem with knowledge management. There is knowledge. There's a lot of smart people, a lot of technologically advanced things going on, but there's no communication. In the company that we collected archival data, we realized that they are so advanced, they have so many technologies, but they're not using it to their maximum potential. So what we did is we found out knowledge management as a system to see how to implement and how it would be beneficial. And it has worked for example, for Sharp. So Sharp is one of the first companies in the world to implement a 4th color in their televisions, which added 1 trillion colors, because the base colors is like red, green, and was it blue or yellow? And they added the other color, which is yellow. So that added 1 trillion more colors, which is like obviously colors, you know, in different shades, like blue, turquoise, navy, like all these shades you find. And it just revolutionized everything. And that happened because they communicate with other departments. They realized they communicated with their collaborators within the company and with their competitors outside the company. So they were able to have this knowledge leveraging system to bring it all together. They share information, they gather, they brainstorm, they protect, and then they discard. So that's how they were able to come full circle. So we wanted to study our company and see if we could implement it there to maximize its productivity and improve the performance. And that's pretty much what knowledge management is.
So how did the knowledge management component relate to the engineering company in China?
So the engineering company in China, if you go to their website looks like any trading website. Like it has, well, not trading, but let me say like any company website that pretty much tells you, oh, this link is for investors. You know, they have the stockholder meetings and all that. And this link is for what we do, but it's not well organized. But they do have QR codes. You just scan it and they give you a whole visual 3D animation with horses and like almost a film production, because it was so advanced. But the problem is when you look at the website, you think it's just a website. So one of the problems is IT did not communicate with marketing, did not communicate with design. And then the workers in the company have also been trained to use their technologies to just their training limits. So they have the most advanced piece of work, but say in training, they've just used like say 20% of it. but they have the potential to, because they build hydro power, electric, they pretty much build cities, but they're just doing the minimum to work. Like, not on purpose. They're just that the technology is so advanced, it has so many potentials, but there's not much communication going on.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you want to use the suggestions or the Lewin's change models we did for this project?
So, sure, do you want to do it, or do you want? Oh yeah, so that was my part. So, so we used Lewin's change model. So basically, we were gonna do with Cotter's change model. So Cotter's change model is an 8-step change model that that takes the company from where it is, its current position, to its desired position, where we want it to be. But since we are doing it in China, I first did the Hofstede 8-step dimensional program to see the differences between the culture of business in the United States and in China. And it turns out that the power distance in China is levels 80 to 100, and the US is 40. So pretty much the power distance of management, like if you were a manager in China, you have way more power than employees. Like, so there's not much back and forth and talking. Just they tell you to do the job and you do the job. You don't ask questions, you don't raise your hands. It's just a different culture. That's how they do things. So we decided to go with Lewin's change model because it's only a 3-step change model, which is freeze your current company, change, and then unfreeze. So pretty much we saw where the company was. They're not using their technology to their full potential in communication. Change,
So can I jump in real quick?
Go for it.
You got the freeze and then the unfreeze backwards. So it's
I did?
unfreeze,
I
change,
thought so.
refreeze.
Sorry, unfreeze and then freeze. I apologize.
No, I just wanted to, just
it's
so
hot
that.
in here. So unfreeze, change, and then freeze. Okay.
It would only have been a problem if it would only have been a problem if it was your comprehensive exam.
Comprehensive exam, but it's
Yeah,
not, so you don't have to worry about it.
I apologize. I'm from the desert, so it's too hot, And I'm glad this is not the comprehensive exam.
Well, you already had a lot of practice for that, let me tell you. It's really fascinating that you applied all of these models and tested them. That's an excellent exercise.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, was it fun to do that? Did you enjoy kind of testing out these theories?
It was very fun. We really enjoyed it, and we really enjoyed working together. And then the thing is, we pretty much didn't know what we were gonna do. We wanted to do a project to publish, and then we realized after we did it, we had this amazing, we went through theory, discussed back and forth. We had to, you had to change everything, like research question, location. We had to change models. So I was going back and forth with Amber through all this, and then we realized slowly we were having something really something good, something we could work with. And then we started to learn about, this could be conference material. This could actually be publication material. I was like, man, we did a lot of work here, and it was good doing this. A lot of work, but it was an experience on the way. And I'll let Amber give us her 2 cents also. I don't want to be the only one talking about my experience.
It's very smooth collaboration with Abdullah because we have different abilities in analyzing things, and we kind of gather that all together, and this turned out to be very well, and we present at a HICE conference, and after that a journal contact us and have our thing published in the American Journal of Management, and we'll receiving a lot of help within this process, all because we are from Pepperdine University. All the faculty members, all our professors have given us so many valuable suggestions and leading us way into this conference and into the publication.
Congratulations on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So what prompted the 2 of you to decide, 1, to present, right, and 2, to present at HICE?
We actually started this project in Dr. Nywer's class, and she's almost preparing us everything for the COM exam. So we just build the models, use all the, she teach us, and like when we finish, well, in the middle, and me and Abdullah, why now we find a conference to present, and we asked Dr. Nyworth for help, and she suggests, why don't you take a look at this? Why don't you take a look at this? We decide, okay, HICE conference, because we have a business education section that may be a better fit for this paper. So we go to the HICE, and then the HICE lead us to another journal. I think this all come in this way.
And to add to that, like when Dr. Nyworth, she pretty much pushed us and helps us all the way, told us to do HICE. And after I arrived at HICE, I didn't know that like Pepperdine was a huge sponsor of HICE. So I went there, I saw Pepperdine University. I'm like, wow, just like that's for me and Amber. This is so cool, you know? So after like not even a couple hours in the conference, I met with Dr. Gabby and I saw other students presenting at the conference. I was like, oh, wow, this is like a huge, Pepperdine is very involved in this conference because we started this project as first-year students. So by the time we finished it, like it's been a while into this program, and it's very supportive. Like being in Pepperdine, and also like it's a very collaborative environment. Like the library is awesome. Dr. Gabby is awesome. Every time, like Dr. Nyworth like helped us throughout like the whole thing. So we were able to slowly get into like make it a whole package to be able to present it.
I'd love to ask specifically. I was curious how you'd selected the conference, and I'm glad to hear that it was promoted by your professor. But one thing I'd like to get your perspective, because we've been talking about, one thing that we love about this conference is that it encompasses so many different areas sort of within education. And so from, K-12, classroom issues, and then you're doing case study comparisons, which is so fascinating. Did you find that you had an engaged audience, that you connected with people through your presentation and so forth?
Amber, you want to go first or you want me to go?
I was thinking like you may have a lot of things to say about this question. So I was like,
okay, so yes, actually the audience were a lot more engaged than we thought they were going to be. So when we presented at the conference, the first thing that was fascinating. So just being in business education, we were one of the very few ones who were like not purely in education. So most of the people in the conference were talking about their school, their experience, or international students. It was like very, very education focused. So when I brought up the business side of it, and we were talking about knowledge leveraging, the biggest question I noticed is that most academics were talking about the miscommunication in academia. Like everybody, first they were starting to ask me, so like, for example, in education, all we care about as teachers or educators in class is that the students learn. But the problem is when it comes to funding and all that, it doesn't come from the academic side, it comes from the business side. So pretty much like board members, like when they make a decision to buy or, to hire someone, it's very financial. And it should be because the world runs on money. So a lot of the questions I got were mostly, oh, where do you find the disconnect here? Where do you find the disconnect there? And sometimes people would go off onto their own question, and then they would talk. I remember they would talk among each other. Yeah, that happened in my school. Oh, in your school too. And I see that. So that was very interesting that they didn't consider knowledge leveraging or that kind of communication outside of education to help education, but as a system, it's all connected, and also it's a very bureaucratic system in terms of there's education, there's levels and hierarchies, and so communication is very, very important. So that's the biggest response and reaction that I got. Yeah.
That's really cool, and that's a sign of a really engaging topic too, when you get people to talk to each other in your audience and talk to you and create this whole conversation. That's really good. Really congratulations on that. What advice would you have for colleagues considering presenting at this specific conference?
I think the preparation, like there are so many conference like in a row, like you have so many like deadline coming up, and you always have to keep in mind like each of your like classes in Pepperdine is a unique experience. You can utilize that, maximize all of your experience. Do not like pick some random topic. You're like, okay, I'm okay with it just for the class, but pick something you're really enthusiastic about, and then you want to take them to go to the next step. So I always like talking to Abdullah, like, okay, this class is perfect for our like next presentation, and we can use all the knowledge, incorporate that into our presentation. And after that, to do some more work, then your like classmate, maybe you can spend more time preparing for the like the articles for the presentation, to go through all the process, and you will receive much more than what you have to like contribute to. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Excellent.
So on that note, where do you see yourselves presenting next?
We're like taking this project to the second step, and we're going through the IRB process now to do some real qualitative and quantitative research on the company as our consulting class project. And we, based on me and Abdullah's collaboration, our like colleagues see, oh, you have so much like passion about this project, and you accomplish a lot. And we have 2 more group members, and we are having very like smooth collaborations. Everyone try to contribute more into this project and say, okay, that's enough. We have a lot of discussion today. Why not we save for the next time? So I'm so glad we can see this kind of spark and between our colleagues and in our cohort, and we're supporting each other. So next time, maybe like me and Abdullah is going to AERA in this April, but for different topics. But I think when we take this project, and we can do more.
So you're presenting at AERA?
Yeah, me and Abdullah both in the like the poster session.
Oh, excellent. Great.
So just to clarify, so Amber was talking about 2 projects here. So the same work that we have done in this project, that we are taking it to the next level and doing a mixed method study in China. So we're gonna have to fly in a couple months, and hopefully that will go very well. And we have 2 new members for that. You know, it's a bigger group. And for AERA, that's next month. We're presenting both of us, but different topics. We're just in the same session, poster session.
Got it.
So that is where our journey is taking us for this year.
Okay. So while you all were at HICE, did you attend any other sessions? Did you engage with other participants?
We did. I actually, it's very interesting. HICE is a very interesting place. The group of people that showed up were like, it was really cool. So when it comes to, so Pepperdine, we had one of our colleagues, well, this actually is this woman was with me in orientation, sitting next to me. Her name is Leanne Weintraub.
Weintraub, yeah.
I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but she's amazing. Like, she's awesome. And I saw her name on one of the doors, and I just went in. I was like, hey, you're presenting. That's so cool. And she was doing a presentation about different styles of leadership and psychology. I also met this really nice lady from Canton, Texas, which is 1 hour from Houston on the I-10. She had her own school, pre-K, 3 to 5, and pre-K to 3rd grade. That she, you know how unfortunately recently our scores in this country is very down in math and English. But apparently she noticed that was so bad. She had her own private school open, and her results, the 90% of her students pass, as opposed to the less than 30% of the students in average. And I met some, and people from all over the world, Bulgaria, Japan, China. I noticed these, this is very interesting presentation. I saw this Japanese poster session about Japanese people trying to learn pronouns. And in Japanese, there is no such thing as pronouns. So they had to research Harvard, like Harvard, Yale, definition of how to talk, this new generation pronoun thing. It's weird because in Japan, they talk about people about distance. So it's koko is here, soko is like there with you, and asoko is like, oh, over there. Everything is distance. There's no he, she, it, and all that. So they were, I love it when I try to ask them that, they were even confused, about the base of it, but they articulated very well. And there are some, like others that were doing biology, study of crows. So honestly, HICE was amazing. I didn't think I would see like all these different peoples. And this lady had this voice emulator of different sounds of crows, like because she studies crows her whole life. She's like, oh, this crow's from South America. It's caw, caw. That crow is from another side. And one of the crows sounded like a goat. I don't even know how to make that noise, but it's I love the people there. It was really cool.
Yeah, I feel like sharing of thing is like we met Dr. Miramonte and Dr. Brem in the HICE conference, and Dr. Gabby also come to our session and give us a really great question now. Why do you choose Louis over Carter? I was like, okay, it's the first time I think about this. And Dr. Gabby is holding my camera for the whole session to record all our presentation. And that's like, okay, I only asked Dr. Gabby to take us a few pictures, and she's like holding that like 80 minutes. I'm so cherishing about all the support both Dr. Gabby and Dr. Maria gave us and support us and lead us to the podcast as well.
And I just wanted to mention that Dr. Gabby and Dr. Brome, when I saw Dr. Gabby and she said, oh, I'm going to come to your presentation, I realized then I had to really go back and study my notes because no one knew my level in class or in general. Because if I messed up, they were like, oh, he's okay, he's foreign, or people, try to be nice. But with her, I was like, oh my God, I have to be good. So I had to go review my notes, which was really good. Like, I appreciated that. And I really love the support. Thank you so much.
I didn't mean to make you all nervous or anxious, or I was just there to support everyone. So, but I'm gonna ask questions. I just ask questions. That's just
we appreciate that. Like, we're
How
also
has this
representing the school, so we try to be prepared. Oh, sorry to interrupt.
I just wanted to ask, how has this process helped inform your dissertations?
Sorry, I don't understand the question. Can you repeat that again?
Sure. How has this experience and your research together helped inform your dissertation process?
Okay, because we take this as basically using the COM exams model, like we have a change model, we have evaluation, we have all the methods like built on the COM exam. So we kind of want, we have some existing knowledge. Okay, we are aware there are so many change models, and we are aware like how to use that, and now we pick the best fit for our COM exam.
And what about you, Abdullah?
Pretty much almost the same as Amber. So I realize that every project we do just gives us a bigger toolbox of what to work with to choose our presentation. And honestly, I would say the biggest thing for me is when I went to the conference, a lot of the people I met were very passionate about what they did. So when it comes to dissertation process, I realize now that it has to be something I really not just want to do, but want to continue to research, so I will need to make a change in that, because some people have been going to the same conference and improving on their project for at least 5 to 10 years, which was very it was kind of moving, you said that kind of dedication. So that's bigger than even the knowledge part for me.
So I have a question that aligns with Dr. Sonia's. one of the many of the things that Dr. Gabby and I have been talking about have to do with how we really want to increase our students' involvement in scholarly communication, and by presenting at conferences and writing articles and all of this stuff. And just so because what we see and understand is that it really kind of heightens your sense of self as a scholar and a contributor to the scholarly conversation. So can you talk a little bit about how that helped you, or if it did, helped you feel kind of more like a participant in, contributing to the scholarly conversation? Does that make sense?
Almost, if you can. So
Yeah.
I understand, but what was the specific point that made me contribute? Like, what were you asking?
No, it just how has participating at this conference, I can hear you talk about all of your projects and so forth, but in terms of your sense of self as a scholar, did presenting at the conference kind of enhance your sense of yourself as a scholar and somebody who can contribute meaningful information and make sense of information and share it and make a difference in that kind of way?
Amber, you want to go first, or?
Yeah. I think before the conference, we're doing our independent research. We found these things is interesting. There's a shared common like interest. We just go ahead do the project. And when we hear other one talking like after us in our session, we're like feel like in the environment, like everybody is researching in different angle. They want to add to more knowledge or build up what's left before us. Like someone did the research, but there are specific like potential we can reach, and then through the conference we can know, okay, this is our research. What else others are doing on this field? Like, can we take more from that, and can we fit ourselves into their research to build some like alliance or something? Like we share the knowledge, then can have much more power than we just do our independent research.
Beautiful. It's so good to hear. Thank you for that.
Honestly, Amber hit the nail on the head. That's pretty much like the sense of collaboration that was there. And it's the best thing was other people, like seeing people so passionate about their research. And then we were talking about research and realizing that we're all like academics, we're all like scholars.
There you go.
And that was because when I tell anyone I'm a doctoral student in the real world, like just in the average population, people don't even know what that is. Like I had to change how I phrase it for 6 months until I just start with I'm a researcher, and then they ask me questions, because but being there kind of felt like home, because we spent so many hours, just doing this work, and it's very like it's very inspiring to see that we're all, as Amber said, trying to like either get himself into their research or them into ours, or just support each other.
So good.
Yeah, I think that's critical to hear, because we're trying, that's exactly what we're hoping, right? That the more exposure you get into the scholarship, the academic engagement, such as conference presentations, the more scholarly our students feel. It isn't just a degree. You're shifting your perspective, you're shifting how you perceive the world, you're shifting that researcher, it's that scholar practitioner model. We all come in as practitioners, not realizing how much we know until we're actually going through the programs, but really switching gears and going from that practitioner base to a scholar practitioner approach. And I'm sure like there's a lot that goes into that whole idea behind imposterism, and do you belong here, and are you smart enough? Not that you all feel that way. I'm just saying as a general broad perspective. And so exposing students to presenting and publishing when they're in their programs, I think is so critical, because you don't have to wait until you become doctor to start engaging as doctor. And I think that's critical.
Absolutely. part of the scholar, that you are a legitimate, it provides more evidence that you are a legitimate part of the scholarly community and talking about these issues and sharing, and yeah, so good.
So as we're coming to an end here, I want to be respectful of everyone's time. Does anyone have any last questions for our guests today, Abdullah and Amber?
Where can we find your research?
Oh, this one is already published on the American Journal of Management, and I can send like a DOI or link to you if you're interested in the knowledge management system.
Please do. Thank you so much. And we will put that for you in our digital commons catalog.
Awesome. Thank you
So
so much.
anytime you publish, send it to us so that we can include a link in our at Pepperdine's digital commons catalog. It's not the actual paper, but it links back to wherever your DOI points us to, so that we can go ahead and elevate your research as part of the Pepperdine community.
Oh, thank you so much.
Absolutely. And Dr. Sonia posted her email in chat so that you can send it to her directly, and we can go ahead and do that as well. So with that, if there are no other questions, I want to thank you all for joining us today, and thank you, Abdullah, thank you, Amber, for taking this time out of your busy schedules to join us. To our listeners, if you've enjoyed today's session, please remember to subscribe. Click the subscribe button. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you all next time.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.